Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. If you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So the big question is, what's gone wrong at Manchester United, because during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months into his tenure as interim manager of Manchester United, of course, everything was mainly going right. He was getting the best out of the group, the players, the performances were mainly really good, and the results were very, very good as well. It's just seemed to have all gone wrong, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been named the club's manager on a full-time basis, of course, as well. Obviously, we do know now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is making plans for the summer. So, obviously, we've got to work out, what players, we're going to recommend to come in, of course. Obviously, what players we're going to sell as well. And, obviously, Manchester United are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear-out. Obviously, we've got to make a decision, in regards to who's going to be the new captain as well. And, obviously, we do know the club is still looking to hire a director of football, to come in, to change the club structure and all that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing in this summer transfer window. So potentially, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, obviously he wants to bring at least 5 new additions, to Manchester United this summer. He wants to bring at least 5 new additions to Manchester United this summer. Reportedly, he's going to get a spending spree of around £250 million this summer. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he has identified the positions, where he thinks Manchester United, of course, need to strengthen up. Potentially we need a right back. We also need a right winger. We possibly need a backup striker. We need a couple of additions in midfield as well, and obviously we need a central defender of course as well. But obviously we do know, top 4 is very, very essential this season indeed, so we can get Champions League football for next season. So in that aspect, it makes us have more of a competitive summer window, and of course attracts players to the highest level as well. And I do think it's probably going to take Manchester United, of course, at least a couple of years, to graduate to that elite level, of course, how it was under Alex Ferguson as well. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does want to build a squad, worthy of the club's history, because potentially you can see the deficiencies in the squad as well. But I think up to 8 players, could leave Manchester United this summer as well. We do potentially Manchester United have spent a hell of a lot of money, since Alex Ferguson retired. We do know, I think Man United have spent around 725 million, is it, since Alex Ferguson's retired. So we've had different managers, with different philosophies, of course. We have been playing catch up for the last 5 years, of course, so like that as well. But potentially it's very, very essential, that we do get the right players to Manchester United this summer, and we've got to get the right players, that have got the ability to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years, of course. And it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is emphasising his targets, because if you look at our recruitment policy, it's very, very poor indeed. But I still think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United, considering recently, we have been in a bad vein of form, but I still think he's the right man for Manchester United, and I still think he's a better fit for this squad than what currently Jose Mourinho was as well. So, we've been interested in quite a few players. For my own preference, the players I think Manchester United are looking to get rid of this summer. We do know, obviously, definitely Antonio Valencia is definitely on his way out of the club as well. Obviously, Manchester United opted against the decision, to give him that new 1-year extension. Obviously, he's been a long servant at the club. Obviously, this is 10th season now Manchester United, so essentially we're looking to get a right back in, and I think, the likes of Wan-Bissaka, probably would be a perfect successor, to Antonio Valencia, of course. I think, as well, I think Ashley Young's should be on his way out of the club this summer as well. Obviously, I think it was bad business from the club, giving Ashley Young a new 1-year extension. Obviously, this is Ashley Young's now 8th season at Manchester United, and I've admired him, what he's done, during his career. Ashley Young, he's been a great servant to the club over the years, but he's past it now as Ashley Young. He's 33 years of age, of course, and by the time his new 1-year extension expires, he'll be 35 years of age, Ashley Young. But now he's no good anymore. He's too predictable. He loses the ball far too easily, does Ashley Young as well. So I want Manchester United, to sanction Ashley Young off this summer. Whether he do or not, I do not know, because he's just now making the same mistakes week in, week out, of course, and he's our first choice right back, of course, as well. So I want him out. I think possibly Rojo is on his way out of the club as well. He's not good enough, in my opinion, for Manchester United, of course. Rojo, of course, has been here a number of years now, but I think, mainly his career has been affected, the amount of string of injuries he's suffered as a Manchester United player. Of course, he's just recovered from long-term absence as well as Marcus Rojo. I think as well the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones should be on the way out as well this summer, Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. I don't think now, they're good enough, to represent Manchester United, to be quite honest with you, and we do need a central defender that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. But Chris Smalling and Phil Phil Jones have obviously, been too long in serving players at the club. Obviously, Jones has been here about 7-8 years. Chris Smalling's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. And of course, they've both lost a yard of pace, of course. I think they do get exposed far too easily, of course, as well. So I want Phil Jones and Chris Smalling out of Manchester United this summer. And I think it was also a bad business from the club as well, giving Jones a new long-term contract, Chris Smalling a new long-term contract as well. And we do know Smalling's performances have improved, since he recovered from that long-term absence. His performances have really, really improved. But I think he's used there as a backup option, to be quite honest here, is Chris Smalling as well. So I want Chris Smalling and Phil Jones out of Manchester United this summer. I also think too, Eric Bailly could be on his way out as well, if Manchester United can get a new centre-back in this summer, because Eric Bailly, I do really, really like Eric Bailly. He's got great potential. He's heading into his 4th season now as a Manchester United player, as Eric Bailly, but of course he's been in and out of the team this season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preferred the likes of Smalling and Jones ahead of Eric Bailly as well. Obviously he's out at the moment with a concussion, is Eric Bailly of course as well. I think we paid about £30 million for him back in 2016 from Villarreal as well, and I think it was actually one of Jose Mourinho's first signings, of course, when he was here as well. I also think Matteo Darmian's on his way out the club as well, because he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time as a Manchester United player. Obviously, just recovered from long-term absence as well as Matteo Darmian. And I think if he is to leave this summer, from his own preference, I think he'd probably prefer a return back to Italy, of course, because he spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was a lot younger as well, Matteo Darmian. I think this is now his 4th season as a Manchester United player, Matteo Darmian, but I think he could be also on his way out as well. We do potentially know as well in relation to Ander Herrera. It's looking likely he's going to be on his way out of the club in the summer as well. Manchester United have actually been locked in contract negotiations with Ander Herrera, as we all know. Reports were coming out the other week saying that reportedly he's agreed a deal to join PSG on the free transfer. I think it's on a free transfer. On a free transfer, I think it's a 3-year deal worth around £150,000 a week, because allegedly reports came out saying that reportedly Manchester United, reports were coming out saying that Ander Herrera was demanding around £200,000 a week from Manchester United. Reportedly Manchester United, were not willing to meet his £200,000 a week wage demands, so reportedly he's going to PSG on a 3 this summer. Ander Herrera, this is his 5th season now at Manchester United. He has made I think about 187 appearances in all competitions. He has been a great servant to the club. Most recently he hasn't been playing, due to injury, of course, as well. But I've analysed his performances as a Manchester United player, and really his performances have been really, really good. He had a rough patch under Jose Mourinho because he wasn't really getting the chance from the start, but since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coming, mainly his performances have improved. He's been fitting that midfield trio very, very well. He can break up the play very, very well, but we do know there's better midfielders out there than Ander Herrera, and for me, he's not a £200,000 a week player. So obviously now Man United are in the process of emphasising a couple of targets that could replace Ander Herrera, of course. So for me, we do need a couple of additions in that midfield. Of course, we do know, obviously, Paul Pogba's future is up in the air at the club as well. And most recently, his performances have been way below par as well. And he's been one of our most influential players overall. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended to come in, his performances have been mainly really, really good of Paul Pogba's. And he's supposed to be one of the best midfielders in world football as Paul Pogba, and he's also a World Cup winner as well. But potentially he hasn't replicated that most recently as Paul Pogba. Reports have been coming out saying that Man United are willing to reportedly offer him the captain's armband on a permanent basis, reportedly, to convince Paul Pogba to stay at the club. Reportedly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had negotiations with Paul Pogba, and from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's perspective, he insists Paul Pogba will not leave Manchester United, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is convinced that Paul Pogba still will be at Manchester United, of course, next season as well. So Solskjaer insists he's focused on United, and Solskjaer insists he's not thinking about a move to Real Madrid. But obviously Zinedine Zidane's a big admirer of Paul Pogba, of course. Zinedine Zidane himself is emphasising his targets for this summer because he wants investment into that Real Madrid team, of course. He's interested in the likes of Eden Hazard, Christian Eriksen, but also one of his targets is Paul Pogba as well. And reports came out a couple of weeks back, Paul Pogba, was talking a lot about Real Madrid, saying it's a dream, to play for Real Madrid and all that. And he was talking a lot about Real Madrid with Paul Pogba. But potentially his agent Raiola, of course, has been in a couple of negotiations with Real Madrid, of course, over over the summer move. He's also been to Manchester, to negotiate a summer move for Paul Pogba as well. But recent reports came out the other week saying Manchester United were set to begin contract negotiations with Paul Pogba. But reports came out the other week saying that Paul Pogba was demanding he wants an astronomical salary of around £500,000 a week if he's to sign a new contract, and if he is to remain loyal to the club, and of course if he is to sign a new contract as I've just said as well. But Paul Pogba has still got over 2 years left on his current deal. He's under contract here till 2021, well 2022 should I say, because there is an option of a third year as well. But reports have been coming out saying that Real Madrid are willing to offer him around £130 million this summer. So if any offers do come, I think Manchester United of course are willing to turn them down indeed. So he's got to really step up to the plate as Paul Pogba as well. So we don't know what's happening with him at the moment. His future is up in the air, to be quite honest with you. I think Sanchez is definitely on his way out of the club in the summer, because Sanchez, for me, he's just not playing to the highest level anymore. Of course, he's age 30, is Sanchez, he has sustained, quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Obviously, just most recently, obviously, Sanchez just had a knee injury, and I think prior to the Barcelona game, I think he missed the last 5 or 6 games, was it, something like that. And when he has been given the opportunity, he's been so inconsistent indeed, and that's not good enough, because Sanchez, of course, is our highest paid player at the club. He's obviously the highest paid player in the Premier League as well. And as I did say, it's taking its toll, and it's totally having a bad effect on our wage structure, to be quite honest with you, because currently what Sanchez is on, now we've got other players, demanding, quite a bit more money, as I've just said. Pogba on his current deal at the moment is on £300,000 a week. So reports came out a couple of weeks back saying he was demanding a £200,000 pay rise if he was to sign a new contract with Manchester United as well. But Sanchez has been inconsistent, as I said. It was good during his Arsenal days, he was good during his Barcelona days, and he hasn't replicated that form at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you as well. It's going to be difficult to find a buyer for him, considering his substantial wages on. There may be a team or two out there that can afford, to pay Sanchez's wages off, but yeah, he's not good enough for me, for Manchester United as well. I also think Lukaku could be on his way out of the club, this summer as well, because Romelu Lukaku for me is not reliable enough, to be quite honest with you. He's got a good pedigree in the Premier League, he's scored loads and loads of goals in the Premier League, and his goal scoring form is very good, but I've got reservations about Lukaku, because for me his first touch really concerns me. Romelu Lukaku, his first touch concerns me. His finishing's poor. He doesn't really get enough of them runs in behind, to be quite honest. I think there has been talks that he has been linked with a move to Inter Milan as Romelu Lukaku. Obviously Manchester United paid £75 million for him a couple of years back as well, so essentially he could be possibly on his way out, because I think his agent revealed that he could be open to leaving Manchester United this summer as well. Juan Mata, of course, as well. Juan Mata, of course, I really like Juan Mata. Some people say he doesn't fit under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system. Juan Mata's been a great servant to the club. Of course, he's not really playing to the highest level anymore, because he's age 30 now. He's Juan Mata. Obviously, he's got a good pedigree in the Premier League. This is his 5th season now at Manchester United. Juan Mata's, of course, this is his 5th season now at Manchester United. I think he's made over 200 odd appearances for the club. Juan Mata, obviously, he's a former Chelsea player as well. I think he did serve 2.5, 3 years, of course, as well. But Juan Mata, mainly, hasn't been first choice, for Manchester United, as we all currently know. But I think if we are in the process, to get him a new contract, obviously it probably won't be a long-term contract, considering that he is age 30. So Man United may consider, offering him a 1-year extension or something like that as well. So yeah, definitely players are going to leave this summer. Could possibly, Fred leave Manchester United this summer as well. Because for me, I've been known for criticising, Fred, quite a lot, to be quite honest. But I think most recently, Fred has really stepped up to the plate, to be quite honest with you. I think in the last 3 games or so, Fred's really stepped up to the plate. I think he's been supporting the defence very well. I think he's been intercepting well. I think he's been feeding players ahead of him really well indeed, Fred. And, as it does stand at the moment, I think Fred's probably, probably more a better, Fred is probably a better solution than Nemanja Matic, to be quite honest with you, because I think Fred's probably more mobile and better on the ball than Nemanja Matic, to be quite honest, because I did say, I've got strong reservations about Matic, of course. He's aging up. I've got strong reservations about him. He's too slow, as I said. And I think, yeah, we do potentially, need a centre defensive midfielder, of course, as well, in my opinion, that's fast and tenacious, because for me, Matic is not reliable enough, fulfilling that central defensive midfield role, because he is too slow, indeed. Some games, Matic has stepped up to the plate, his distribution's improved, he's looked more effective in his passing and all that, but he is still too slow, is Matic, of course, as well. So, as I did say, Manchester United are expected, to orchestrate a big summer clear out, and, there's been a lot of players, that have, been recently, performing below par, of course, as well. So for me, our squad from back to front is potentially, not good enough. We haven't been showing no fight, no passion, lack of desire. We're lacking leaders in the team as well. And in relation to the likes of Rashford, Martial, Lingard, they've all been very, very poor, at least for the last couple of months now, of course. And in relation, to Marcus Rashford, I love him to bits. Marcus Rashford, he's Manchester born and bred. He's been a United player since the age of 7. He's been in the senior squad with us, since 2016, as well as Marcus Rashford. But more, I've analysed his performances, at least in the last couple of months. He hasn't been playing to his potential best, Marcus Rashford. Obviously, during this couple of months, he has sustained, quite a few injuries, and that might have taken its toll on Marcus Rashford. Might have had a bad effect on his game, of course, as well. He hasn't emulated to that level yet, Marcus Rashford. He isn't on that level yet. For me, he's still in the process. Of developing his Rashford, of course, as well. So he's not on Mbappe's level yet, and it could take Rashford at least a couple of years, to emulate, to Kylian Mbappe's level, of course, as well. So I've been very, very disappointed, with him recently, as well. Martial, I've been very, very disappointed with him as well. Anthony Martial, at least for the last couple of months now, his performances have been very, very poor. Indeed, since he's recovered from that groin injury, I think Martial, has been very, very poor, because obviously his form were really, really good early on in the season, Anthony Martial, but he's failed to replicate that form, most recently, as well. I've also been very, very disappointed, in Jesse Lingard, to be quite honest with you, as well. Jesse Lingard has been very, very poor indeed, so he's been also a shadow of himself. So there is quite a few players, recently, that have, been performing, way below par. So So from my perspective, guys, what I'd say, I just think some of these players at the moment, aren't quite standard enough, to represent Manchester United, week in, week out. So I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to, think about, rotating it on Sunday against Everton and making some changes into that team, of course, as well, because there's just some players at the moment that aren't reliable enough, to represent, Manchester United, week in, week out, of course. And, we've got Rashford as well, as I did say, his reports have been saying that he's in advanced talks with Manchester United over a new 5-year contract. Reports actually came out the other week saying that Rashford was demanding around £300,000 a week from Manchester United, reportedly. This is what basically, said in the media. Now, recent reports have said he's demanding around £200,000 a week, is Marcus Rashford. In his current deal at the moment, he's still under contract here till 2020. There is also an option of a further year. I know that his current wages at the moment are around £80,000 a week, Marcus Rashford, as well. So he has been in talks with the club over a new 5-year deal as Rashford as well. Obviously, we've got David De Gea as well. Again, his performances have been way below par recently. He was at fault for the second goal against Barcelona, of course, in the Champions League. Also was at fault, for West Ham's equaliser at the weekend as well. So I don't know what's going on, with David De Gea at the moment. Is it something to do with a contract issue? I do not know. But Manchester United have been in talks of getting David De Gea a new contract, and David De Gea has been he's been a long servant here as David De Gea, and he's still potentially, the best goalkeeper in the world. Reports came out the other week saying that reportedly he was demanding £350,000 a week if he was to sign a new contract. Reportedly, Man United are not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. Obviously, Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him in 2015. Obviously, recent reports have said that PSG reportedly, showed an interest in David De Gea as well. So hopefully, he will commit his long-term future at Manchester United. I think this is now his 8th season at Manchester United. Of course, is David De Gea's as well. So we have not yet come to an agreement to get him a new contract. Obviously, he's still under contract here till the summer of 2020, of course, because we activated a 12-month extension last year. But in his current deal at the moment, he's on £200,000 a week, I think. So he's demanding, I think, around £150 million pay rise if he is to sign a new contract, of course, as well. So there is a lot of problems got at Manchester United, going on. And obviously, we've got to address these problems in the summer as well. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is going to need backing, of course. But he's still in the process, don't forget, of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Obviously, we've got to get a director of football in. Obviously, there's been a lot of talks about Paul Mitchell going on. Obviously, Paul Mitchell is a head of recruitment RP Leipzig, as you all currently know. I think he's been there a couple of years now. Obviously, still in the contract of RP Leipzig till 2020. I think RP Leipzig have been in the process of trying to convince him, to sign a new contract with them, I think till 2025 as well. But it said Manchester United, Arsenal and Chelsea are all chasing, Paul Mitchell as well. He's born and bred in Manchester. Obviously, he used to be the head of recruitment at Tottenham and Southampton, as well. Where he did work alongside Mauricio Pochettino, Paul Mitchell as well. So he could be the favourite candidate, to come, to come and fulfil the director as well at Manchester United. But recent reports have said that he's going to make a decision on his future with RP Leipzig this summer as well. So the club have got to get a director of football to come in as well. But a lot of people are maybe saying, Manchester United, we should spend the money wisely this summer, not spend too much money on one player, of course, because as I did say, there is quite a few players out there, for a reasonable figure, of course, as I did say. Recent reports have come out as well about Jadon Sancho. I do want to give you an update on, because obviously he's the club's number one priority target. Of course, Manchester United, of course, are heavily linked to him. Obviously, we do want to recommend, a right winner to come in, and I think Jadon Sancho would be the right solution for Manchester United, of course. I think he'd link up very, very well with the likes of Rashford and Martial in our attacking line. But we do know, obviously, he's going to cost us around £100 million, if we've got any chances of getting him this summer. Recent reports have suggested out about Jadon Sancho that he is interested in making a return to Manchester, reportedly as well, because obviously, as you all do know, he's a former Manchester City player, where he did serve a couple of years, Jadon Sancho. I don't think he ever got into the first team, or he was never guaranteed to play regularly in the first team, and this is why he departed Manchester City and, of course, went to Borussia Dortmund, of course, and he's been at Borussia Dortmund a couple of years now. I've seen his performances, they've been really, really good indeed. He shows that ability to attack, he can provide, he can also score goals as well, as he has proven. He's still got a contract with Dortmund till 2022 as Jadon Sancho. Borussia Dortmund have been known for doing business with their players in the past, but we do know it's going to take a bid of around 100 million, so potentially that would make him our most expensive signing, obviously making the most expensive English footballer ever as well. So there has been a lot of talk, going on about Jadon Sancho, so we do need someone that can play between the bylines, put crosses into the box, and I think Jadon Sancho, would be reliable, of course, indeed, but he is going to cost the club around £100 million, of course, as well as Jadon Sancho. And he's just turned 19 years of age as well, so he's very, very young. He's one of England's youngest upcoming talents, of course, as well. There's also been a lot of talks going on about Callum Hudson-Odoi as well, and I think he's one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Again, one of England's youngest upcoming talents, only 18 years of age, made his England senior debut, not too long ago as well, as I did say. He's only 18 years of age. I don't really see, Chelsea willing, to sanction him off this summer, because Chelsea could be possibly losing Eden Hazard this summer. I think potentially Chelsea have got a transfer ban. I think they did appeal against the decision. I don't know if this transfer ban is going to be delayed. Obviously, Callum Hudson-Odoi, back in the January transfer window, actually did put a transfer request in, and he did actually say that he did want to leave Chelsea back in January, but Chelsea were reluctant and they were being ruthless over the situation. They were not willing to let Callum Hudson-Odoi go, because obviously back in January it was Bayern Munich's top priority target. Bayern Munich held negotiations. Bayern Munich obviously had a host of bids turned down. Even Bayern Munich, of course, willing to offer him the number 10 shirt as well. But obviously, Chelsea, we're not willing to sanction him off. And now Manchester United reportedly, entered the race for him. It's also said Liverpool have held negotiations with Callum Hudson-Odoi's agent as well. Most recently, he has been playing, more recently for Chelsea. I think, he has had a couple of starts now in the Premier League, of course. But I think, he still may have strong reservations about his game time. But I think he has been featuring more like in the cup competitions for Chelsea as Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think Chelsea have been in negotiation and trying to convince him to sign a new contract. His current contract ends in the summer of 2020 as well, and he can play as a winner. He can also play as a forward as well. So there has been a lot of talk, going on about him as well. But we do know Manchester United, of course, as well, are chasing a central defender. We do need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline. As we all do know, Toby Alderweireld, for me, would be a great upgrade in our central defensive area. There has been a lot of talks about Alderweireld, going on. We do know he's available for a reasonable figure this summer, of course. Obviously, we know we've been interested in quite a few defenders, and, we've been interested in the likes of Koulibaly and Rafael Varane, but we do know them, them type of of players at their calibre, you know, are going to cost us a lot more money than currently, you know, Toby Alderweireld. So you can see it like, you know, Toby Alderweireld's a much cheaper alternative, you know, to the likes of Koulibaly and Raphael Varane. Toby Alderweireld for me is a good player, you know, to be quite honest. I do have reservations about him now. You know, he is age 30, of course, he just recently, you know, turned 30, and I think, you know, he has lost that yard of pace to Alderweireld. He has got a 25 million release clause. Tottenham activated a 12-month extension, you know, back in January, of course, and included this 25 million release clause. So potentially we do know he's available for a reasonable figure this summer. Obviously, Toby Alderweireld has refused to sign a contract renewal with Tottenham as well, but he's well Premier League proven. I still believe he'd be a great upgrade in our defence. I think he'd be a great leader in our backline as well. I think he's made about over 150 appearances for Tottenham as well as Toby Alderweireld, of course. So he's well Premier League proven, is Alderweireld, and Manchester United are reportedly interested in him. Manchester United, of course, were linked with Alderweireld last summer as well, but potentially, you know, we couldn't come to an agreement to get him. Recent reports have said that Arsenal have also showed an interest in Alderweireld as well. So there's also been a lot of talks going on about Koulibaly, of course, because obviously, you know, he's Manchester United's. Obviously, Manchester United have been long admirers of Koulibaly, of course, as well. You know, recent reports came out saying that Napoli are demanding that they want around £110 million for Koulibaly if they are willing to do any business this summer. So potentially Manchester United, you know, will have to pay a world record fee, you know, if we've got any chance of getting Koulibaly this summer, of course, as well. Obviously, Manchester United made inquiries, you know, back in January. Manchester United were in talks with Napoli, you know, back in January, of course, and Manchester United in the process had 3 bids turned down for him in January. Obviously, we were linked to him last summer as well, but Napoli, you know, we're not willing to sanction him off back in January as well. But as I did currently say, reports came out the other week saying that allegedly, reportedly, that Koulibaly had switched agents, and now reportedly his brother is currently representing him, you know, because he may be interested in leaving Napoli this summer. Obviously, you know, Koulibaly has grown, developed and flourished fantastically well. Obviously, he's been in Italy now with Napoli a number of years. I think he's gone on to make like over 200 odd appearances for Napoli. But I think from Carlo Ancelotti's preference, you know, that I said quite a few weeks back now, he insists he's not for sale, Koulibaly, and he insists that Koulibaly, you know, will not leave this summer. Koulibaly, of course, he's age 27, he's nearly age 28, of course, and he's recently signed a new deal, so he's under contract, you know, now with Napoli until 2023, of course, as well. So Manchester United, of course, have been heavily linked with the Senegal international, indeed, but his defensive capabilities are good. He shows that ability to play out from the back, of course, as well. So I'm a big fan of Koulibaly. He addressed our defensive deficiencies fantastically well, but defensively overall, since Solskjaer's coming, you know, Manchester United have really improved. But as I did say, you know, we've got to still get a central defender in there as well. We do know there's been a lot of talk, you know, as well, you know, going on about Raphael Varane, as we all know as well. Raphael Varane, for me, you know, would fit the Manchester United, you know, agenda really well. He's never had he's not had any experience yet, of course, of playing in English football in the Premier League, and it would be good for him, you know, to come to English football. You know, Raphael Varane, you know, he's proven himself fantastically well in Spain with Real Madrid. This is now his 8th season with Real Madrid, you know, Raphael Varane's. I can't see Real Madrid, you know, willing to sanction him off this summer unless any team is willing to trigger his current release clause he's got in his current deal, which is a staggering 429 million, is it? Or something like that as well. But he reads the game very well. You know, his defensive capabilities are very good. He's also very good in the air as well. And he's only 25 years of age, so he's still got a lot of years ahead of him as Raphael Varane. And I think, you know, he'd be a great leader in our backline with Raphael Varane. I think he's won about 15-16 major honours at Real Madrid. This is now his 8th season in Real Madrid, as I said. I think he's made about 270 appearances in all competitions for Madrid as well. So it's just quite remarkable, you know, what Raphael Varane has achieved as a 25-year-old as well. Very good for France in the World Cup last summer as well. So it's remarkable what he's achieved for a 25-year-old Raphael Varane as well. And even if, you know, even if Real Madrid, you know, weren't demanding his release clause to be triggered, he would cost still in the region of at least £100 million would Raphael Varane as well. But I still think Raphael Varane's got a contract with Real Madrid until 2022 as well. So Manchester United have showed an interest in him. There's been quite a few teams interested in Raphael Varane as well, because reports came out the other week saying that he was considering leaving Real Madrid this summer. And there's also, we do need a couple of additions in midfield as well. As you do know, guys, there has been a lot of talks about Bruno Fernandes, going on as well. And he's really, really tied it up in Portugal. Again, Bruno Fernandes, I think, is mainly an attacking midfielder. He's 24 years of age, as you all know. He's Portugal as well. I think he's been at Sporting Lisbon now a couple of years as Bruno Fernandes. So, do you think he'd be the right solution, for Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes? There has been a lot of talk saying that Manchester United are in negotiations, over summer transfer, for Bruno Fernandes. I think Man United have been in negotiations, with Bruno Fernandes' representatives, of course. As I did say, he's 24 years of age. I think he's got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, but I think he's got a release clause of around £90 million in his deal with Sporting Lisbon as well. But I think if obviously, when he was younger, of course, I think he did spend the majority of his career in Italy with the likes of San Pandora and Udinese and all that. But he's had a good couple of years in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon. But recent reports have actually suggested out that reportedly he's interested in making a move to the Premier League as well. So there has been a lot of talks about Bruno Fernandes going on as well. João Felix as well, has been a Manchester United target. He's another Portuguese player. He's 19 years of age. Of course, he's reportedly doing very, very well with Benfica. Is João Felix. I think he's got a buyout clause of around £100 million as João Felix. He only broke into the Benfica first team last year. Do you think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United as well? I think he's mainly winner. I think he can also play as a forward as well, and he is versatile is João Felix. I think Man United, showed an interest in João Felix, back in the January transfer window as well. So, there has been a lot of talks about João Felix going on as well. Manchester United have expressed their interest in him. As I said, he's got a buyout clause of around £100 million. Only very, very young indeed, 19 years of age, of course. I think Liverpool were interested in him back in January as well. So there has been a lot of talks, going on about João Felix as well. I think Man United have instructed scouts, to watch him on a regular basis as well indeed. So Man United may go for him in the summer. Obviously, we do know as well there has been talks going on about Declan Rice as well. And Declan Rice, again, he's one of England's youngest upcoming talents. His performances this season have been really, really good for West Ham. So he is flourishing fantastically well under Manuel Pellegrini. His performances have been really, really good. He is mainly defensive midfielder. I think he plays a centre-back, but I think he's mainly defensive midfielder, is Declan Rice. I think he's been at West Ham a number of years now. I think he's been in the senior squad a couple of years now as Declan Rice. He is only 20 years of age, of course. Obviously, as well, I think he got a new contract, was it, back in December of last year? So he has got a deal now with West Ham until 2024 as Declan Rice. He's actually initially a former Chelsea player, is Declan Rice. He joined at the age of 7. He was actually in Chelsea's youth academy a number of years, and then he got actually axed off at the age of 14 as well. But he's growing and developing fantastically well, is Declan Rice. So do you think he'd be a great addition, if he was to possibly, come to Manchester United in the summer? I think he's initially valued at around 40 or 50 million pounds. So if West Ham are willing to do any business this summer, I think they demand that they want around 50 million pounds for Declan Rice, of course, as well. So yeah, there's a lot of targets, that Manchester United are linked with, as we all know, as well. But as I did say, going into the game at the weekend against Everton at Goodison Park, of course. Obviously, we know Manchester United from now to the end of the season have got to win every game in the league. If we do want to keep our top 4 ambitions alive. Obviously, going into the game at the weekend, obviously, we know Luke Shaw is obviously suspended, and Luke Shaw, as I did say, was a big miss in my opinion, for the Barcelona game, because Luke Shaw, is obviously our first choice left back. He's reliable on that left hand side. He can also, make them overlapping runs as well. Can Luke Shaw, and he's very, very reliable indeed. And he's still got a lot of years ahead of him as Luke Shaw. He's been at Manchester United now a number of years, but obviously he's suspended for the game at the weekend against Everton as well. But going into the game against Everton at weekend, obviously Everton, sitting 9th in the league, of course. Obviously Everton have won 3 of their last 4 league games. Of course, obviously they lost at the weekend to Fulham 2-0. But at Goodison Park, obviously, they've beaten the likes of Arsenal most recently there. They've beaten the likes of Chelsea there. They also won away at West Ham as well, by 2-0. So they have won 3 of their last 4 games of Everton. Of course, I think Man United beat Everton last season at Goodison Park. Was it 2-0? It was 2-1 earlier on in the season at Old Trafford as well. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will rotate for the game on Sunday against Everton as well. Obviously Manchester United have got City coming up. Our next 2 home games are Manchester City and Chelsea, and they are going to be 2 difficult games indeed, as we all know. But As you did see yesterday, guys, as I did give my Champions League match reaction yesterday, of course, on the Manchester City Tottenham game. It was a great game, indeed, as I did say. A lot of goals, there were a lot of goals, incidents, controversy, VAR, and it was an entertaining game of football, to be quite honest with you. It was a 7-goal thriller, of course. We know, as I did say, now obviously, Tottenham went through on the away goals. Man City won the game 4-3, and it was 4-4 on aggregate over the two legs. But as I did say, Tottenham went through on away goals, so potentially Tottenham do play Ajax in the semi-final, of course. Liverpool themselves, beating Porto comfortably by 4-1, winning 6-1 on aggregate over the two legs. So Liverpool do play Barcelona in the semi-final as well, and that's going to be a very, very interesting tie indeed. Obviously, Barcelona now going to be the favourites to win the Champions League. But reflecting on that game yesterday, I thought it was a great game. To be quite honest with you, I'm really, really happy. Tottenham won that game, because now obviously Manchester City are no longer bragging, that they are going to win the quadruple, and Manchester City are not going to be, it's good that Manchester City are not going to get the quadruple, because obviously now they can't beat, one of my club's greatest achievements, which was obviously, back in 1999, of course, which was 20 years ago, when of course Manchester United won the treble. Obviously Manchester City, could still possibly win the treble. Obviously they're still in the title race. They've already won the Capital One Cup this season. Obviously, as well, they're in the FA Cup final, so potentially, possibly, Manchester City, could still win the treble as well. But in the game, it was like 3-2 after the first 20 minutes. As I said, Raheem Sterling scored 2 goals for City. Heung-min Son scored 2 goals for Tottenham as well. I think Tottenham's third goal was from Llorente, and I think City's other 2 goals were from Bernardo Silva and Sergio Aguero as well. So yeah, what an entertaining game of football that was. Obviously, City had a goal disallowed right at the end. VAR, of course, had intervened, and for some reason, I think it had been disallowed. I don't know fully why. I didn't really see the full thing, but it had been disallowed, to be quite honest with you as well. But yeah, what an entertaining game of football, that was obviously as well. And obviously that was City's objective this season, to win that Champions League, of course. Obviously, Manchester City have never won the Champions League as well. So yeah, it's Tottenham that go through to the semi-finals against Ajax. I think Tottenham are more than capable of beating Ajax, to be quite honest with you. Tottenham are more than capable of beating Ajax. Liverpool, Barcelona. You'd probably say Barcelona on paper, because Barcelona are a well-established club. They've got loads of money. They've got great players. Barcelona are not, the elite level football club, that there was, 9 or 10 years ago, but they're still arguably, one of the best teams in the world. They've got great players indeed as well. But yeah, Liverpool Barcelona, will be a great game. I think, Liverpool have done really, really well this season, as I said. Obviously, if Liverpool had to choose out the Premier League and Champions League, they'd like to win both, but if they had to choose, obviously, Liverpool would rather win the Premier League, because Liverpool haven't won it, for nearly 3 decades, of course. They actually haven't won a major honour since like 2006, Liverpool, if I'm right, as well. Obviously, Klopp hasn't won out yet as Liverpool manager, so from Klopp's preference, obviously he wants to get his hands on that title as well. Liverpool are top of the league at the moment, obviously, by 2 points. Obviously, City have played a game less. Obviously, if City win every game from now to the end of the season, City are champions. But as I did say, reflecting on the league, if you do look at the remaining fixtures of Manchester City's and Liverpool's, obviously, you've got to favour Liverpool, obviously, because City have got to play Tottenham in the league this weekend. City, of course, have still got to go to Old Trafford as well. So yeah, they are 2 difficult games there for Man City. But I think now on paper, Liverpool's remaining fixtures, they should win all of them. Should Liverpool as well. So Liverpool, obviously, from their own perspective, obviously, need Manchester City, of course, to slip up, of course, as well. But as I did say, Liverpool, got a good team now. They addressed the deficiencies last summer, and I think Liverpool, recommended about 5 signings last summer. Obviously, they addressed the defensive deficiencies with the signing of Virgil van Dijk for £75 million in January of last year as well, and he's done, really, really well for Liverpool. But I think Salah, without a shadow of a doubt, is one of the best in the Premier League in terms of an attacking intent. I think his physicality is good, his work ethic's really, really good as well as Mohamed Salah's. Sadio Mane, he's not on the level as Mohamed Salah is. Sadio Mane, it'll take him maybe a couple of years at least to emulate to Salah's level. But Mane, for me, can still score goals. He can provide. He can create chances as well. So I really, really like Sadio Mane. And I like Firmino as well. And they are a good attacking trio in Liverpool's squad. I think most recently Jordan Henderson's really, really stepped up to the plate for Liverpool. I think Fabinho now is settling in at Liverpool as well. There's been a lot of tempo to his play. He's mixing in more and he's getting more involved. Is Fabinho as well. So he's been quite impressive indeed. Naby Keita's been in pretty decent form lately for Liverpool as well. But yeah, Liverpool, have done really, really well. Of course, they've only lost one game all season in the Premier League, of course. The record is fantastic at Anfield. I think now Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 38 games at Anfield in the Premier League as well. And obviously, Liverpool's pivotal game, was obviously at the weekend, obviously, against Chelsea. Obviously, Liverpool won that game, by 2-0. And that was their toughest game. And that was their pivotal game. They had to win, to keep their title ambitions alive. And they did win that game, Liverpool. So you've got to say now, obviously, Liverpool are going to win the league, of course, well. But it's very, very close indeed. It could still go either way. Manchester City, of course, won at the weekend against Palace 3-1. Sterling also scored twice in that game. And he also scored twice in yesterday's game as well. So Raheem Sterling's been in pretty decent form recently as well. So it could still go either way. But if you look at the running, you've got to favour Liverpool, of course, as well. But Liverpool-Barcelona, is going to be an exciting tie indeed, to be quite honest with you. Everyone's going to obviously favour Tottenham-Barcelona final, if you look at it on paper, but it could be an all-English final, it could be a Liverpool and Tottenham in the final, of course, as well. So you just never know, to be quite honest with you as well. But that's really everything to update you today on this video. So as I did currently say, what's going on at Manchester United at the moment, as I did say, during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months into his tenure as interim manager, everything was going really, really well. It just seemed to have all gone wrong. It just looks like we've took the foot off the gas, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been Manchester United manager on a permanent basis. Of course, the performances haven't been good. The results have been negative as well. So I don't know potentially what's going on at the moment as well. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to sort out in the summer. What players should get recommended to come in. What players should be sold. What players as well should stay at the club. Obviously, we've got to make a decision who's going to be the next captain. Obviously, as I did say, there's been talks of Man United willing to give Paul Pogba it. Obviously, we're looking to get a director of football to come in as well. £250 million spending spree reportedly we're getting this summer. Maybe some Man United fans are demanding that we should be getting more than £250 million this summer as well. Because up to 8 players, could leave Manchester United this summer. And I've just gone through all the players I think, should leave Manchester United this summer or could leave Manchester United this summer as well. So I think Solskjaer, from his own preference, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions, to the club this summer as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for me, as I did say, still the right man for Manchester United. I know he hasn't got that experience. He hasn't got, a great managerial pedigree, of course, but I still believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, can take this club forward as well. So Solskjaer did potentially say he was commenting on our top 4 hopes, and he did potentially say he said Manchester United need 15 points. Obviously, we got 12 of those points at the weekend against West Ham. So potentially for me, we've got to win every game from now to the end of the season to keep our top 4 ambitions alive. Because as I did say, there's quite a few teams going for that top 4. Of course, there's Tottenham going for it, there's us going for it, there's Arsenal going for it, there's Chelsea going for it. So there is quite a few teams going for it as well. So anyway, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing to my channel as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.